Okay, guys, I see maximum people have joined, just waiting for one or two. So we'll wait for a minute or so and then we'll start. Meanwhile, if anyone has any question related to course or the topic which we discussed yesterday, please feel free to ask while I'm waiting for others to join.
सर ये वाला जो आपके जो नोट्स है ना सर, किस पे आपने शेयर किया? मैंने ढूंढा कल नहीं था।
This is, sorry, who's that?
वकार सर।
Okay, okay, it is in the group, the WhatsApp group which is there. Go to the description, and description you guys will find 3 links. One of them link is for the Excel file where you can mark your attendance, or you can put your name and email address. That sheet is there.
सर न्यू ग्रुप वाला?
Yes, there's only one group, I guess, for you people.
ओके ओके
Yeah.
ओके।
So it is there in the description. Okay, guys, I see maximum people have joined, so let's start. We discussed service model. We were discussing service model yesterday. We discussed infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service, but that was I was in a bit hurry because session was about to end. So I said that we will start this again from scratch. So today we are going to do this. But before we go ahead here, do you guys have any questions on this topic, at least on this question, types of cloud? Now, if I ask you what is a private cloud, what is hybrid cloud, will you be able to answer? If not, do you have any question? And if you do not have any question, you should be able to answer.
No, sir, no.
No questions, guys? Okay, so I'll take this as no from everyone, and I hope you guys do not have any questions here. So let's proceed and discuss the types of services. But before we do that, let me ask a few questions to you guys on this one, on public cloud and private cloud. Okay. So can anyone, I mean, we discussed this yesterday. Can anyone tell me the scenario where you will see public cloud, where you will see the hybrid cloud? What could be the scenarios where you will see hybrid cloud? What could be the infrastructure like where you'll see the hybrid cloud?
So
Sohail bhai,
hybrid cloud used from migrating some on-premise servers to the cloud.
Okay, that is one example. Thank you, Isaac. Ajay, yes, another example. Why else could we have a hybrid cloud?
If I can give one example over here. As you have taught yesterday, as the company is having the what we say the storage places where the server is getting expire, and we are just trying to transfer that particular expire server to the cloud.
Sorry, didn't get you exactly. Could you elaborate?
One second, then
No, it
we
was
have
correct.
the
Just
server.
elaborate it.
Yes, we have the server in our company, old company. We have not taken anything on the cloud side. But in our company side, we have the server. Let's take an example. The server A is getting expired in some days, but we have to move that data in somewhere else, or we have to take the server. Then what we can do is that the server A, we will try to shift to the cloud so that it will not get, we will be still using that data, which is there on the server A.
Okay, it is
Will
correct, but
that
it's almost
work?
similar to what Isaac said. This is called migration. Yes, Leo, do
Okay.
you have any other answer? That is also correct though. It's not incorrect.
Sohail bhai, can I?
Yes. So, Sohail bhai, where the company wants to keep the crucial data at the premises server.
Yes, this could be a reason. It's not
Business critical
necessary.
data.
Yeah, it's not necessary that all the time it is an old migration, that it is an existing company. Let's say that I'm a new company. I want to build my infrastructure from scratch. I can go to cloud, but still there are some restrictions, there are some policies, there are some government compliance. due to which I am unable to keep my data on cloud. And for that reason, I'll have to build maybe at least a 10%, but I'll have to keep some servers on premises. So that could be the case where you will have a hybrid cloud. Clear? Who are the usual customers for private cloud? Yes.
Government agencies and education sector.
Mm, Government agencies, yes, but education, no. Why would they want anything private? Why would they pay extra?
Defense,
Banking.
army.
Financial
Banking
corporations,
clients.
yeah, financial corporations. Though there is no set rule. Okay, you and me and I cannot decide that who will stay on private cloud. If I have sufficient money, I as an individual can also go ahead and acquire for a private cloud, right? So there's no set rule, but these are industry standards, or I would say what works in industry. That is what we are discussing. But there's no benchmark or conditions that because you are an individual, no, you cannot take my private cloud. If you are able to pay their bill as an individual, also they'll give you a private cloud. Even if you want it for gaming purpose, they will give it to you. So there are no conditions. Okay, but most of the time government and financial corporation, they deal with private cloud. Okay. Yeah, guys, any other questions do you have? Anyone? If you want to ping me, please ping me. If you do not want to ask question, please ping me. Okay, if there are no questions, guys, let's proceed. And we don't have to spend too much time and efforts on this one. इतना detail में कोई नहीं पूछता है, but this is just our beginning, starting. Hence, I'm focusing on this, so at least you get hang of the training and you get into this. That is the reason we discuss this too much. Otherwise, even if you show an experience of cloud of 2 or 3 years, they may not even ask you this question: what is cloud and what are the types of cloud? For freshers, yes, they will ask you. Okay. Now, service model: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. We have already discussed this. How many of you did not understand this? Yes, guys, feel free to text or tell me. Just unmute yourself and tell me that, okay, in what part did you not understand?
Sohail bhai, I have a question over here on the types of services.
Hmm.
There are three types, that is IaaS and platform as a service and software as a service service. So what are the major difference? Because I have seen few articles where it has been mentioned as IaaS and PaaS or SaaS. So I can see that software as a service, where most of the clients provide their application on the cloud, but I didn't get as IaaS and PaaS, because we dealing our PTC has their own products like Windchill Creo, which is already on SaaS on the cloud, Microsoft Azure only.
Okay.
So what we do is we put the Windchill on the server, and it's a database application, Windchill, and most of the customers can directly access from the cloud, but it didn't get IaaS and PaaS.
Okay. Anyone else? Got your question, Satar. We'll address it. Anyone else, guys? Yes, Murtaza, you
I
have any
have a
question?
question, Sultan. So I wanted to ask that let's say a client is using an SaaS model, right? And if that person decides that he'll take the application from Azure, okay, but the database he'll be using of a third party, let's say. So is that possible in this model?
Yeah, obviously that is possible.
Okay.
But
Okay,
we're
that
not
was
discussing
my
that here. How to do that, we are not discussing in this
yeah.
today's session. We are not doing that. It will come very
Okay.
at the end, obviously, almost. Yes, guys. Anyone
Okay.
else?
No issue.
Okay, so if you guys do not have any questions, let's start discussing this. Okay, so I shared a picture yesterday with you. Didn't share it on WhatsApp because I was looking for a better picture. So let me see if we can find it, or if you are able to understand it using that picture, that is also fine, right? And get in habit to this calling it infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service instead of calling PaaS. Get into this habit where you call infrastructure as a service, where you call platform as a service, and where you call software as a service. Okay, so this was the picture I guess we were discussing, similar to this, even if this wasn't the same picture, something like this we had. Okay, so here first let me explain the role to you, and then it will be easier for you to understand. When they say you manage, you as in you individual or your company. Okay, when they are saying service provider manages, it means the cloud provider, Azure, AWS, GCP, IBM, Alibaba. It could be anything, but in our case Azure. So let's stick to this is Azure, and this is you as in your company, or you as an Azure administrator. Is this clear till here? These two roles, is it clear? When I say you,
Yes.
Yes,
it is
yes,
not
sir.
Yes.
end user. Okay, it is you as your administrator or your company. Okay, and then we have a service provider. Service provider is your Azure service provider. In this case it could be AWS, it could be GCP, but here we are talking about Azure. So this is you, this is Azure. Now let's talk about on-site. On-site we already discussed. We discussed the example of Swiggy. If I want to have an application like Swiggy, this is my new project or something, and where I will have everything on site. I will rent a room, I will have a server rack, I'll have everything. So when it comes to that model, the on-site model, everything is up to you: purchasing, decommissioning, operating, and maintenance, support, everything. So if you see, when they say on-site, everything you are responsible for, be it storage, server, virtualization, operating system, middleware, runtime, data and application, and networking, and anything and everything you will discuss with your application owners, and you will work on this. What kind of networking do you want? And when I say you, here you're not the only person. This is, I'm referring to your company. You as in आपकी company का networking team, they will be responsible to do the complete networking. एक नया डेटा सेंटर बनाना है तो पूरे वायर्स, कितनी टाइप की वायर्स लगेगी, किस तरह का नेटवर्किंग होगा, कितने आईपीज यूटिलाइज हो गए, पब्लिक आईपी, प्राइवेट आईपी, एवरीथिंग, डिटेल्ड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ऑफ नेटवर्किंग, your networking team will do that. Similarly, storage, what kind of storage do you require, कौन सा वाला storage चाहिए, कितनी capacity का चाहिए, उसका backup कैसा होगा, everything will be done by your organization storage team. This is server. When I say this server here, this is they're talking about server class hardware. So purchasing server, uska rack lagana, wo sab kuch karna, unko power connectivity dena, everything will be done by the data center team or the server team. Now virtualization. What is virtualization, guys? I explained it to you that one physical server can be used for multiple operating systems, right? Servers are huge machines. If I have a server of 64 GB RAM and 1 TB of hard disk, it's not necessary to have only one operating system. You can have, that is possible, but that is not economical, right? So what I do, I divide this server. Now to divide that server, there are some technologies, we'll discuss about them very briefly. That is not our topic, right? So we will discuss that, but very briefly. There's VMware. Microsoft's product is there called hypervisor. Okay, and then Citrix. These are the technology which help you to divide your server, you divide your physical server into virtual machines. So one physical server can be used by many virtual machines. How to do that, we'll see that later, but I hope you understood that. So this is the server, and you can divide it into virtual machines, multiple machines. So that is what this is talking about. Let me open this again. So here, the virtualization. So now who's responsible for virtualization? You as in your company. Your company is responsible for virtualization. There must be a virtualization team, a VM team, or hypervisor team, anything. Then operating system, installing operating system on top of that, where it has been divided in everything. So installation of operating system, it is your responsibility. middleware, runtime, and putting data on that and running application, obviously it is your responsibility. So is it clear? Did you guys understand what is on-site infrastructure look like? Where you are responsible for everything, handling, changing. If you want to get some hardware change, something is broken, maybe it is in warranty, out warranty, getting in touch with vendor, calling them into your data center, removing that from rack, replacing it in the rack, everything, you are responsible for this. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes.
Sohail.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next topic is, or the next thing is, infrastructure as a service. Here cloud comes to picture. Okay, infrastructure as a service. Now when I say cloud, what is cloud? Cloud is again a data center, right? Microsoft's data center. We saw those pictures, right? Azure data center, if you see, we saw these pictures. This is the data center, multiple buildings they have. Within the building, they will have racks like this. Within the rack, they will have servers. So ultimately, there are servers, storage devices, and servers. But that is owned by Microsoft in this case, because we are studying Azure. Otherwise, it could be GCP and AWS, anything. Okay. So here, it is owned by Azure. What are you doing? Over the internet through this portal. This is the Azure's portal. We'll go it by one, how to access and everything. We'll go it. We'll check that. Okay. Here I'm just showing it to you for understanding. So via this portal, you are requesting a server, a machine, something like this. I have requested a server. How to do that? We'll see that later. So don't bring that question here. Okay. So what am I doing here? In their data center, I am using certain services. Now, when I install this operating system, when I install this server, it will be installed on one of the hardwares, right? This hardware, the one we are talking about, this hardware, this is the hardware we are talking about. This is the hardware we are referring to, right? So that server will require a hardware to install the server. So that is what we are renting from Azure in this case. When I say infrastructure as a service, what are we renting from Azure? The networking, which their engineer have already done. If you look at this data center, networking, यहाँ पर सारे cabling वगैरह सब कुछ बिछा हुआ है. You don't have to do that. You just have to pay the rent and utilize that over the internet. So the networking part, who's responsible for that then? Service provider. If something goes wrong, initial setup, if something goes wrong, if something is broken, anything and everything related to networking, service provider, Azure is responsible. What you are responsible for, only telling them what do I want. Okay, networking, this section I want, that's all. That's all you have to tell them. They will give it to you. Maintenance is their job. Similarly, storage. You just have to tell them what kind of storage I want. I want HDD, I want SSD, I want 500 GB, I want 1 TB, I want XYZ, I want ABC. You just have to tell them. But maintaining that, hosting that, it is their job. And they're not putting a server over there, guys. Understand one thing. Just because now you tell them that I want 1 TB hard disk and I want networking and storage and servers and etc. No one physically is going and putting a server in rack. No, they're not doing that. They have already done that. They have created their setup. They have thousands of servers already. Okay, those are available. You are just giving that, you're just requesting them. This is already available and they are giving the access to you to utilize that. So no one, it doesn't work like that, that you request for 1 TB storage and the request will go to them and someone will literally carry a 1 TB hard disk and put it in a rack and then give it to you, give access to you. That is not happening. Everything is already there. I mean, more than what you could imagine and more than what you could request, Azure has already built it in their data center. So whatever you're requesting, that thing is already there. You are just asking for access, discussing the money, that's all. So when it comes to storage, Azure is responsible. When it comes to servers, now what are servers? Again, we discussed these kind of servers. So if something happens to this server, okay, like RAM is gone or hard disk is failed, RAM is corrupted, power cable is not working, network cable has broken, this port you see guys, these ports, maybe this port is not working fine. It could be anything. Are you responsible for that? Sorry. Are you
No.
responsible for that looking at this picture? No. What you have asked for, that I want a 32 GB server, a 1 TB RAM. That's all you will request. It is Azure's responsibility to give it to you. If this one fails, if one server fails somewhere, let me drag it. So if one server fails here, somewhere here, let me get a good picture of a rack, so you'll be able to understand. So if one server fails here, somewhere the hardware server fails, it is Azure responsibility to move my operating system to another working server, that too immediately, with bare minimum downtime. Okay, it is their responsibility. And when I say their responsibility, no one will literally go and do it like this. This is just the initial setup they are showing, or maybe they are replacing an outdated server, or maybe they are replacing a broken server. But no one will go and put your operating system manually. That happens automatically. So, but it is Azure responsibility that if something goes wrong with this server, my operating system should get moved to another physical server. So I'll get my services. I should get my operating system working. And then it is Azure's responsibility whether they're repairing this server, they're replacing it, they're fixing it, soldering it, whatever they want to do, that it's their responsibility. Again, I am focusing on Azure again and again because we are learning Azure. Otherwise, it is cloud service provider's responsibility. Okay. Now that server, I told you, that server can be utilized for multiple machines. So who will do that virtualization? Am I going to do that? No. My job is only to ask. It could be a 64 GB RAM server. I have asked only for 16 GB. So who will do the virtualization for me? So it's Azure's job that to give me access to only 16 GB. So if anything goes wrong with these area, with these subjects, who's responsible?
Service provider.
Yes. In our case, it's Azure. Now let's come to the next layer. After this, what they have given you? They have given you the access. Fine, take it. This is our network. This is our everything. This is our server. Under this server, I have given you some sort of section. It's yours. How are you accessing? Over the internet. Take it. Do whatever you want. You want to install Windows. You want to install Linux. You want to install SolarX. You want to install. Do whatever you want. You don't want to install. Fine. Keep it with you. Okay. So the next option there, or the next step, is to install an operating system. Who will do that now? Who's responsible for operating system? Azure
Tenant.
Administrator,
Company.
tenant, or company, or engineers. Yes, anyone. I mean, whoever has asked for the service. Similar to middleware and anything, whatever goes after this, putting data into it, putting application into it, application working, not working, everything will be taken care by you or your company. So this is called infrastructure as a service. Now, why are we calling it infrastructure? Because we are using the lowest layer of Azure. This is their infrastructure, IT infrastructure, networking, storage, service, and virtualization. This is the infrastructure. Something physical is there. That is why we are calling it infrastructure. So what are we doing? We are using infrastructure as a service here. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes,
Let's
Sohail.
go to platform as a service. I already explained it to you. If you're using PaaS, your infrastructure as a service already covered. So I'm not going to explain again these 4 topics, right? I hope you guys understood this very well. What extra do you get when you go to platform as a service? Operating system, they will say, don't worry, we'll install it for you. You just tell us which one you want. Okay. I tell them that I want Linux, fine. In this case also, I will have to tell them, or I will have to ask for some file or something from them. But installation, I will have to do. And it's not only installation. Let's say that I have installed, looking at this image, okay, coming back to IaaS, and I have a few questions for you guys. Now let's say that, guys, in infrastructure as a service, I have installed Windows Server 2019. Infrastructure as a service I'm using, and my server is not turning on. I shut down the server and it is not turning on. Who will take care of that? Azure, or I will do that?
Company is
Azure.
Azure.
Okay.
Service provider Azure.
Okay, I specifically took server's example because it's a bit confusing. When I say server, guys, if you don't have any question, I'll have to mute you. It's mute yourself, guys, please. If you do not have any questions, please mute. Others won't be able to listen to me otherwise. Okay, so when I say server, it's a bit confusing because server could be anything. When I say server, maybe your server hardware has gone down. What did I tell you? That it is Azure responsibility, and that is not something they do manually. So if the server hardware was gone, or if it was broken in this case, they will, without even you raising it, they will move your operating system to some other server which is working and running. So they will do it without you raising it to them. It is their responsibility. Okay, they will do the same virtualization and everything on that server, and they will have your operating system up and running. But when I say server is not working, there could be some issue with operating system also. Maybe you did not apply the license. Maybe last patching which you did, patching is an upgrade, like you upgrade your operating system, Android and iOS app वगैरह install करते हो ना आप लोग, and I'm sure you know the Windows upgrade also. Windows की updates आते रहते ही है, right? So when you updated your Windows last time, maybe that patch or that upgrade did not work well, or उसके बाद operating system खराब हो गया, it is not working. Then who's responsible? Service
Company
provider or
only.
client?
The
We are
client.
responsible.
Yes. Let's take them
We
in
company.
two. Yeah, let's take them in two terms. We'll call them service provider, and we'll call this client. We are the client. This is service provider. Okay. So anything here it's service provider. Anything here it's client. So it's clear that who's responsible for this? Client is responsible for this. Okay. Similar to middleware, runtime, data, and application. I mean, anything which goes above this, you are responsible. The client is responsible for this. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now coming back to the next one, platform as a service. Now in platform as a service, what Azure says, and any cloud provider, we are talking Azure, what Azure says, you don't worry about the operating system. Let me take care of that. By the way, these are not doing any favor, or nothing is free. Okay, the moment you take next service, the charges are increasing. Sometimes it is economical also, and that ultimately that is your job. That how, which is which is good option, what to use. Okay, so what Azure says here, that if you take platform as a service, you don't even worry about operating system. I'll take care of that operating system. You just tell me your application wants Linux or Windows. I'll take care of that. I will install the operating system. Whatever GB RAM and etc. that operating system requires, I'll take care of that. Uh, uh, Updates of that operating system, I'll take care of that. And if operating system goes down, I will take care of that. Licensing of operating system, I will take care of that. The service provider says this, okay? Because it is in red, we are discussing service provider. So service provider says, I'll do that everything. You just tell me your application runs on which operating system. I say Windows, fine, Windows. Which middleware do you want? I say IaaS I need, infrastructure as a service. Sorry, this one. That is a Windows term. IaaS, that is for it's a role
Internet.
which you use for hosting a website. That is not a cloud term. Do not get confused between this IaaS. Okay, so that's IaaS. That is a role, that is in Internet Information Services. That is a role within Windows, which we use to host website. Like we have Apache and Tomcat in Linux, we have IaaS in Windows. So if I am asking for Linux, I will ask for Tomcat or Apache here. If I'm asking for Windows, I'll ask for IaaS here. What they'll say, I'll take care of that. You don't worry about that. Runtime, what do you want? You want Python, you want Java, you want .NET, which version? You just tell us and I'll create everything for you. This is what your service providers are saying. And when they say I'll create it for you, the moment they create it for you, the maintenance is also up to them. They're not just creating it and leaving it. If they have created something, इसमें कुछ खराब हो जाता है, let's say that runtime is not working, it's outdated, it is Azure's responsibility. And if they do not fulfill that, they will promise a downtime to you. They will promise a minimum downtime. They will promise an SLA. Example, if they are providing, if they are promising 99.95% SLA, so there will be a certain time that in a month only 10 minutes could be the downtime. So if it goes beyond 10 minutes, and if they're not able to resolve it, they will give you the rebate in your fees and your charges, whatever they're charging you, you will get benefit out of it. So that is that kind of responsibility they take, right? So this, but what are they saying? That we are responsible only till here. Why? Because you're using platform. Here you are using infrastructure. Here you're using infrastructure plus my platform. But your application and your data, if Swiggy application is running here, and if something goes wrong in operating system, cloud is not responsible. They will say that you have only taken infrastructure from me. I'm responsible only for infrastructure. You look after your operating system. Don't ask me. Similarly here, operating system is working, but there's something wrong with the application code writing. The coder has done some blunder. Azure will say, I am responsible till here. Tell me if there is something wrong with operating system. No. Is there something wrong with networking? No. Is there something wrong with storage? No. Middleware? No. Runtime. Then what is the issue? The issue is with application code. He will say, but I have not developed an application for you, right? This is with your developer. So you are responsible for this. When you take platform as a service, application and data, you are responsible for this. Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
Last
Yes.
option is SaaS, software as a service,
Yes.
where you take everything from Azure, everything. In this case, Azure, it could be any cloud. Example, Gmail. Are you worried that Gmail ka koi code bro? You as in, we are individual users, forget us. Gmail official bhi use hota hai, theek hai? Even if some of offices are using with 10,000 users or 1,000 users, if something goes wrong with Gmail, are they worried? Will their internal team work on that? The maximum thing they will do, raise a ticket with Gmail that we are paying you and the service is down. Who is responsible for that? Gmail's coding. Was there something wrong with coding? Was there something wrong with database? Is it something wrong with runtime? Is it something wrong with operating system, virtualization, server, storage, networking? Who's responsible for that? Google, Gmail.
Service.
It's their provider. It's their product. They are responsible. Something goes wrong with Google Drive. You are not responsible. They are responsible. What do you do in this case? You simply go ahead, you create your account and ID password, and that's all. You start using. If it is a free service, you use it for free. If it is a paid service, you use it for, you pay them and you use it. Is it clear, guys?
Will be Microsoft Teams will be considered as an service as sorry, software as a service?
You tell me. If something
Like I
goes wrong
feel
with
it.
Microsoft Team,
I think so. Yes.
yes, it is. It is a
We
cloud
are not
service.
responsible. Yes, cloud.
It is a cloud. But guys, understand one thing, okay? You cannot simply, I don't have internet here on my computer, okay? In case I don't have internet, and then if I keep complaining that my Google Drive is not working, whose responsibility is that?
User.
Yes, I don't have
The client.
internet, right?
We.
Their product
Yes.
is working. So Teams, it's thoda sa complicated hai. Teams mein it happens that your internal networking is blocking some port. Teams will say my service is working. You are not the only client. I have 1,000 clients and it's working for rest of them. 999. It's working for them, and I have tested. And they won't say similar bluntly like this. They do their tested. They will do their RCA, and they will then send a report that everything is working fine from our end. What is the issue? At your level, the network which is there at your level, some port is blocking there. That is the reason Teams is not working. But what is this networking then? This networking is related to Teams. I mean, whatever networking is required for Teams to work, Teams server, which is hosted at Microsoft, and because it's a SaaS, right? Software as a service. Microsoft का product है, तो ये सब उनके यहाँ पर host होगा. Right? So ये networking, ये storage, they will take care of that. But this networking is getting connected to your own network. आपको भी तो internet चाहिए ना? But let's say that your internet is not working fine, or your internet is blocking some port, your internet is blocking some address. Then is it service provider's mistake? No. They will share the RCA with you, and then your team will have to work on this. That why is it not working at our end? Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. In case it is not clear, guys,
Yes.
many of them use this pizza option also, the analogy to understand the infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. I was never comfortable with this, so never use this. But if you guys, this is very helpful though. Many people understood. So if you understand by this, feel free to go through this image that this is the on-premises, traditional on-premises deployment, where you'll use your own kitchen, your gas, your oven, your pizza, your toppings and you cook the pizza, you do everything. This is made in house. Okay. Infrastructure as a service, what do you manage here and what vendor manage? Vendor will have their kitchen, their gas, their oven. You will manage pizza dough, toppings, and cook the pizza. You get it and uh you get it and you just heat it and eat it. Okay. Platform as a service, everything is there. You just put some toppings and cook the pizza. Software as a service, you go ahead and eat in restaurant. Everything will be served to you. Okay, though I never understood this very well, but if someone is liking this, use this. Someone is liking this, use this. Someone is liking this, use this. I have no issues. However you understand. So do you have any questions? Let me know. We have 3 minutes left for this session. Do you guys want any break or should we continue without break?
We can continue.
Continue.
Okay, we'll continue without, yeah, we'll continue without any break using the same link, but we still have 3 minutes in this session. So yes, guys, any questions for public cloud deployment, infrastructure as a service, or yes, but remember these jargons also. Okay, don't forget. Maybe you will remember this, ये सब आपको अच्छे से याद होगा, but then you'll confuse what do you mean by service model? And then the interviewer say, don't you know infrastructure as a service, platform as a service? And then you'll say, ah, yeah, obviously I know that. That should not happen, and that has happened. That is the reason I'm giving you this exact example. So remember this. What are these called? These are called service model. These are called deployment models. Okay, so remember these terms also, these jargons, and utilize them while giving interview, while answering to the questions. Utilize these terms. Okay, any questions here? If not, let me quickly complete one more question here. What is serverless computer? We'll do this later. Let's not get into this here. Yeah. Okay. What is Azure? Now I have explained already what is cloud. इतना सब हमने explain कर लिया. It will be easy for you to explain what is Azure. Azure is nothing but just a cloud provider. Cloud provider है. Microsoft is the company. Azure is their product. It is a cloud provider like Amazon and GCP. Clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So now we'll discuss Azure architecture components, and then we'll go to the this one portal also, and we'll see how to access that, how to create account, and we'll do some grouping also here. And that is what we are going to do in next session. We still have a minute. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Okay, guys, if not, let me end this session, and it will just take a minute because then recording gets converted. So meanwhile, I don't get an option to start the meeting. So as soon as I get the start button, I'll start the meeting. Hardly takes a minute. Okay, so maybe by 14:40 we'll start the new session using same link. I'm stopping the session now. Bye.